Karl Marx. He was born in Trier, Germany in the year 1818 and was of Jewish descent. He had far-left radical views and thought that Germany and Europe as a whole were corrupt and needed some change. He believed that society was unfair and that there was a ton of injustice, and in 1848, Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. Marx would later die 35 years later in March of 1883 at the age of 64 years old. However, his idea of communism would continue long after his death and would later get picked up by good old-fashioned Vladimir Lenin. Lenin shared the same far-left ideology as Marx and decided, hey, what if I made Marx's idea into an actual country? Nothing could go wrong at all. Spoiler alert, it would. You see, on November 6, 1917, Lenin launched the October Revolution. Wait, you said this took place on November 6th? Yeah, but the Russians were using the old-style calendar, which was October 25th, 1917. I'm saying November 6th to match our current calendar system. Alrighty then, I see. I don't know what I was doing with that voice. Anyway, Lenin thought it was a good idea to overthrow and take control of the previous Tsar government, which was led by Nicholas II. In the end, the Bolsheviks won the revolution, and this kicked off the Russian Civil War. This would last from November 7th, 1917, all the way up till June 16, 1923. This would all result in the Bolsheviks winning. A few months before the Civil War ended, Lenin already established the newly formed Soviet Union on December 30th, 1922. Even though the USSR was already established in 1922, many other nations wouldn't recognize it until years after formation. The reason? Well, people weren't particularly fans of the whole abolish capitalism thing the communists were setting up. Also the fact that the United States was largely turning a blind eye to the whole revolution. Uh-oh, it's the new year and Lenin just died of possibly a stroke or poisoning on January 21st, 1924. Now the Soviet Union needed someone to fill in the rank of leader, and unfortunately Joseph Stalin was like, hey, wouldn't this be perfect? And just took the job. Now why was this unfortunate? It was because that Lenin hated him and thought that if the Soviet Union was under his control, it would only make it worse. And well, he was right. Stalin would take control a few months later in April, and for the next few years, the Soviet Union was suffering from an economic crisis, food shortages, and lacking industrialization. Stalin pretty much said that this sucks, and made the amazing 5-year plans to make the USSR into a bustling nation. Which failed. By 1933, the United States finally recognized the USSR after 17 years of being completely ignorant of its existence. What made the United States finally recognize the Soviet Union was that President Roosevelt thought if they did, it would slow down Japanese expansion in East Asia, and also the US would have better relationships with the communist nations, so, you know, just a little bonus. Hey, it's the late 1930s calling, and Nazi Germany is eyeing up its neighbors, and it was like, damn, Czechoslovakia is looking hella sexy, now I need to cop some of that. And so Germany did. In 1938, Britain, France, Italy, and Germany signed an agreement that Germany could annex the German ethnic side of Czechoslovakia, but since it was Hitler signing the agreement, he took all of it. Anyway, the Soviet Union sought friendship with Germany, leading to the co-signing of the Non-Aggression Pact. In simpler terms, it meant we don't attack each other, maintaining our influence within Poland. The Germans, and soon the Soviets, invaded Poland in just 35 days from September 1st, 1939 all the way to October 6th. And then World War II happened, but this video isn't about World War II. In 1941, the Germans launched Operation Barbarossa, which would help them achieve more Lebensraum. Their operation was a partial success because they basically led the Soviets right back to Moscow, but then the Soviets pushed the Nazis back and then more battles happened. World War II began to die down when the Italians shot and beat up Mussolini, Hitler killed himself, and the United States dropped their bombs on Japan. Or at least that's a simplified version of what happened. Point is, the Allies won. Yay! Now we enter the end of part 1. Wait, what the? I didn't sign up for part 2s? Do you want this video up by January? Yeah? Then I'm splitting this into 2 parts. Also, I'm not even sure this part will make it out on time. My god.